How you doing? How you been? What's going on? What's good? How you getting it in? Body getting it funny. What's going on, people?
Okay, this is going out as far as today of July the 30th, 2017. Gizzell Ford, an 8-year-old girl beaten and tortured to death. Then police read her diary. And I want to share her story with you and stuff. And here it is. On the surface, Gizzell Ford looked like a bright and bubbly 8-year-old child. She liked to jump rope and looking forward to going to school. She played with make her friends. She kept a diary that a rainbow striped color, and she wrote in it with a pink pen. The sad thing she wrote about her diary, however, the paint an entirely different picture of her life. Her last entry is chilling hours later. She was found dead in 2013. Now, Gizzell, her two siblings, and her father moved in with her grandmother, 55 years old, Helen Ford, and Andre Ford was suffering from a rare skin disease, and Helen was taking care of the family. Her attorney says that the woman was overworked, overwhelmed, and overcome with responsibility, but that hardly was an excuse for what she did to her granddaughter. Chicago police forensic investigators took to the stand of Helen's trial. The officer, who had been seasoned after 30 years on the force, broke down and cried on the witness stand when he was shown photos of Gizzell's unrecognizable body. Now, Gizzell once wrote in her body, "I know if I'll be good and do everything I'm told, I won't have to get punishment." These punishments included being forced to squat in stands and comfort positions as far as hours, and she would cry out of pain, groan in discomfort as her grandmother would stuff socks in her mouth. Sometimes she was beaten. Sometimes she was deprived of even water and food. Gizzell was optimistic, and through her beatings and stuff, she had been really broken. And "I'm going to be a beautiful, smart, good young lady," she wrote one day. "I can do anything I put my smart mind to. People say I'm smart and courageous and beautiful." One day Gizzell wrote, "I hope that I don't mess up today because I really want to be able to just sit down and watch TV and talk and play with everybody." Gizzell wrote in the same entry, "I'm going to have a great day all day." The little girl later added, "Not true, I failed." Her entry came on July 11, 2013, and it was very deserving. "I hate this life because now I know I'm in super big trouble," she wrote. She was found dead the following day. She had been strangled to death and beaten. The diary of the photos of the child's body was entered into the evidence as far as the Ford trial. Another piece of evidence as far as Ford's cell phone video that documented her grandmother last month. In one of the videos of Gizzell with her eyes destroyed and stands straggling, looking like she was exhausted, while her grandmother and father taunted her and shoved her around. In another video, she's standing with a rag in her mouth. Hunt's family, who testified as a character witness, saying that the grandmother would never hurt the child, couldn't even look at it. They turned away. The prosecuting attorney pointed to Ford and noted everyone in the room was out as far as the video, but her. Now, in the punishment, Gizzell was tied to the bed and deprived food and water for days. Her grandmother beat her for sneaking a sip of water from the toilet. By the time Gizzell's body was found, it was badly battered and she was unrecognizable. She had cuts and bruises on various stages of healing, meaning that the beatings were so regular that one of her cuts was infected and crawling with magnets. Her kidneys was failing, but from being deprived of food and water. Hunt's defense attorney argued that the child's wound was self-inflicted by the grandmother, and the grandmother wasn't able to do anything about it to stop it. The judge didn't buy it. However, Hunt's was sentenced to life in prison One of Hun's few family members that testified in her told her that from the stand, "You may have broken her body by torture, but you've never broken her spirit," she said. "If she had one last breath, I know she would use it to tell you she loved you." And this went out as far as training, as far as this young girl being tortured and beaten to death and everything inside the diary. She was letting them know exactly what was happening to her. And she was being tortured by her own grandmother and stuff. And now she's dead and stuff. I mean, damn, 8 years old, your own grandmother killed you and stuff. This is just a baby in her life, and she's writing a story in a journal and stuff. So I want to share with you as far as the news coverage of it. Get the ideas as far as the active version of this here beautiful young spirit girl that was here. Check this out.
But first, everybody, a judge calling the murder of an 8-year-old girl, quote, exceptionally brutal.
The child's grandmother found guilty of first-degree murder. Eyewitness News reporter Evelyn Holmes was inside the courtroom as that verdict was handed down. Evelyn.
Well, relatives of 8-year-old Gizzell Ford could be heard quietly sobbing as the judge read her verdict. The court said there was overwhelming evidence that the girl died of horrific child abuse at the hands of her own grandmother. The emotional relatives of Gizzell Ford have nothing to say as they are escorted from court just moments after a Cook County judge convicts the 8-year-old's grandmother of first-degree murder in her death. 55-year-old Helen Ford showed no emotion as an outraged Judge Evelyn Clay found her guilty of the 2013 torture killing, saying, "This murder was torture. The child suffered a slow and agonizing death with injuries from head to toe." In closing arguments, prosecutors say the straight-A student was strangled and beaten, but was already dying of kidney failure because her grandmother and father refused to give her food or water or let her sleep. Assistant State's Attorney Ashley Romalto told the court, "This type of murder makes you lose faith in the human race." In addition to cell phone video showing the girl's father and grandmother berating her, authorities shared a haunting journal entry written by Gizzell just days before her death. She writes, "I hate this life because now I'm in super big trouble." But the defense painted a much different picture of Ford, calling her overwhelmed and overworked as a grandmother. Her public defender asked a judge to find her client guilty of involuntary manslaughter, saying she may have abused and neglected the girl, but never intended to kill her. The family of Helen Ford refused to comment on the trial's outcome. Paramedics found the body of Gizzell Ford, which was covered with bruises, cuts, and scratches, on July 12, 2013, in the Westside apartment she shared with her grandmother and father, Andre Ford. Although bedridden with a chronic illness, he was also charged with a murder but died in jail of an apparent heart attack while awaiting trial. A Cook County judge had awarded temporary custody of the girl to her father, an unemployed felon, 8 months before her death because he claimed her mother was homeless. Her mother tried to get her back. Well, Gizzell's mother has filed a civil lawsuit against the state, claiming a DCFS caseworker had visited the home where the girl had been living with her father and grandmother and ignored obvious signs of abuse. Helen Ford could be sentenced to natural life in prison because of the exceptional brutality of this particular murder. Her next court date is April 5th, and it was hard to sit through it, I'm going to tell you. It's very difficult to hear all those details and how the girl suffered. There's no doubt about it.
So tragic and sad.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Evelyn.
There you have it. 8 years old. 8 years old. Beautiful girl. Just brutally beaten. Gizzell Ford. By your own grandmother. Unbelievable. Anyway, all I can say is rest in peace. She was very smart, but, rest in peace, little girl. I'd love to hear your feedback on this. And I want to let you know, be safe. I want you to know I love you. And I want to thank you for watching. Catch the Rave.